Welcome back to Dude, We Can Fix It. Today, I'm gonna show you how to change a leaking radiator. This radiator is leaking coolant from this crack and it's dripping down and keeping this metal part wet right here. So we're going to go ahead and change out this radiator with a new one. Before you start removing the radiator, it's a good idea to drain the fluid out of the radiator. You can find this little petcock with a drain on it at the bottom of your radiator directly underneath this upper hose. To drain the fluid out, simply unscrew this valve and then the fluid will start coming out and you can dispose of that. Now we're going to unhook the two radiator hoses and the overflow hose. It's gonna leak some fluid. No? That's why we're replacing it. That one's got a little fluid in it. On the passenger side of the radiator, there's this one electrical connector. This connector you just push right here and then pull it off, or you can use a pick to push that tab down just a little bit and push it out. On the driver's side of the radiator, we have these two electrical connectors. Once again, just push down on the tab, pull the connectors off. Now we need to remove the two transmission oil cooler lines. Now we're going to remove these two hold downs. It's a 12mm bolt, one on each side. Now we're going to lift the radiator out of the vehicle. So here's our new radiator. When you pull it out the box, make sure that it is new. I had to return the first one that I bought because it was a used return that someone put back in the box and then they sold it to me. So make sure it's a nice clean unit. The new radiator is a blank, so we're going to need to swap all of the hoses, the fans, the electrical connectors, and these little rubber grommets over to the new radiator before we install it. The last thing I have to transfer is these two oil cooler lines. I have some new oil cooler line that I'm going to replace these with because these are pretty degraded. So I got my new hose. I'm going to make sure that it is the same length as the old hose, and then I'm going to cut it. There's one. These are both 3/8 internal diameter hose, but you can see how much bigger this one is because it has swollen up over time. It's a good idea to go ahead and replace it.
Oh, I'll make this a playlist.
These grommets don't want to stay on the bottom of the radiator, so I'm gonna just put them in the mounts in the car real quick. Now we're ready to put the radiator back in. Now we're going to reinstall these brackets to hold the radiator in place. Now we're going to reinstall the radiator hoses. You can use a little bit of saliva to help lubricate it as it goes on. It's not a joke, that's actually a good tip. Now we're going to connect the lower radiator hose and clamp it down. And now we can reconnect the radiator overflow hose. So reconnect your electrical connectors. Push them in until you hear a satisfying click. So now we're going to reconnect our 2 transmission oil cooler lines. Now we're going to top off the radiator with some 50/50 pre-diluted antifreeze and coolant. Once you top this off, crank the car up and let it warm up, and all the air pockets in the cooling system will slowly come out and you'll be able to top this off again. Bubble. Bubbles. Once you get all the air bubbles out, you can turn the car off and top this off one last time. Install a new radiator cap. And make sure your coolant overflow tank is full. The very last thing that we need to do is check our transmission fluid level. Your transmission dipstick has your cold marks, low and high, and your hot marks, low and high. The best way to check your transmission fluid is to drive your car around for about 15 minutes to make sure it's nice and warm. Leave your car idling and check your transmission fluid to make sure that it is within the hot, low, and high mark. If you're low on transmission fluid, go ahead and add a little bit. That's how you change the radiator in your car. Thanks for watching. Dude, we can fix it.